Good morning. Quick video, and this time I mean quick. I mean quick. As in 17 minutes, more or less. So, interesting question that I've been thinking about all morning. Do we have free will? I've touched on this in previous videos. Something I'm low-key obsessed with, in relation and in terms of love. It's an interesting topic. Love has lost its, at least in my opinion, it's lost its meaning in today's society. How we use the word, how we define it. I love pizza. I love Fridays. I love you. Those words can't, be used in the same meaning, the same context. Um, what do we mean by saying we love someone? And do we have free will? As humans, are we predetermined? Are we robots? Are we just walking around as molecules that happen by chance? Matter, time, and chance created the human mind, and then we created an iPhone. That's the whole thing. Anyway, so just a couple things. I want to define love quickly via Google. Google will argue that love is defined as an intense feeling of deep affection. For the second definition will be a great interest and pleasure in something. Well, it's interesting. I would define love in a couple ways. A couple ways. Sacrifice. Sacrifice. Giving. Giving. And then along with that, obviously your actions. Your actions. Obviously, there's a lot of ways to describe and to express love. It's not always with, the greatest example, the greatest altitude. How can I best, sacrifice for this person? There's levels. There's levels. A couple things. So first, let's start with free will, because first of all, the question has to be raised: how do we get love in this universe? How does love exist? Is love a real thing, or does it just exist in our minds? What is love? So, free will. Couple things. In my estimation, there are four potentials of the universe. I got this concept from Ravi Zacharias. Amazing, he's amazing teacher. And why is this cricket? No, I don't have time. There it is. Four potentials of the universe. One, nothing exists. Nothing would be here. Why are we here? That's a good question. The study of cosmology, how we arrived, the origin of the universe, the origin of the Earth. So nothing could possibly exist. That could have been one version of the universe where nothing was here. Then we have only good exists. There's no potential for pain. Like we are programmed, like kind of like a computer. It's only good. Like it only does what it's told. Complete compliance. Obviously, if something breaks, then obviously that's not the intent. It was not the fault of the computer. It was the designer. And then we have amorality. There's no good, there's no evil. It's kind of like science where, a lion kills a gazelle and it's not wrong. It's killing it to eat it. It's not murder. A lion does not murder a gazelle. It kills a gazelle, and there's no differences in why he's doing it. The motive does not change for a lion to kill a gazelle. It always kills a gazelle for the same reason. It's amoral. I have to kill you to eat. It's just the nature of the world that I live in. And the gazelle probably doesn't blame the lion. Bruh, it's cool. I understand. Science cannot explain why, as far as, why a cake is here. It can only describe the cake. It can't speak to the intentions of the baker. So an amoral world is another potentiality. We're here and there's no wrong or right. And then lastly, both the potential of good and evil exist. We have the ability to choose between the two. Only in this last one is love possible. The story of Adam and Eve is one of my favorite stories. It has so many different ramifications and consequences coming from it. The story of Adam and Eve is quite, well known. But the part I want to bring light to is the fact that there was a tree in the garden that was forbidden. And whether or not you believe it, whether or not you believe in the Bible, let's take it as a parable. Why was the tree of knowledge, good and evil placed in the garden and, deemed forbidden? Well, if God were to design, a universe and he placed his creation there, and according to the Bible, again, you don't have to believe it, but according to the Bible, he wanted his creation to love him. Well, kind of like a computer. How do you get a computer to love you? Well, first of all, it has to be able to choose to love you. Otherwise, it's called compliance. Otherwise, it's called a slave. You don't have a choice. I designed you, to choose me. Like you're programmed to do so. The only thing you can recognize is like an iPhone that unlocks only with your face. It's programmed that way. It's not choosing your face over another face. It chose your face. It's interesting. So the tree of the garden, the tree of good and evil, is placed there to immediately give us a choice whether or not to obey the law. That's what it represents. It represents free will, which is interesting. The first gift that was given to humanity was the ability to choose. And with that, now we have the ability to choose each other, make choices, good or evil. So, very interesting stuff. A couple things. So yeah, free will makes love possible, not compliance. The ability to choose someone is one of the greatest gifts we can give to someone. Valentine's Day is coming up. Everybody's, running for the hills. Everybody got the memes going. Everybody's trying to put up their walls and, nobody wants to show vulnerability. I don't need nobody, but I'm going to buy myself some candy. Dusty. Well, I'll probably buy myself some candy as well. It's cold out here. Choosing someone. That's why we get so upset about cheating and betrayal and the fear of loss and the fear of losing someone and, someone choosing someone else over us. You said you chose me, bro. You said you chose me. You chose somebody else. You betrayed me. Here's another definition that I quite enjoy. Love can also be defined as, pleasuring someone versus pleasuring yourself. And I can hear your thoughts, so just go ahead and, squash that. The willingness to pleasure someone else will be defined in my world as love versus pleasuring yourself, lust. Lust. It speaks to the intentions. The actions are probably going to look similarly. It's probably going to be, you know what you're thinking. I'm not even going to mess with it. YouTube is not playing out here. Pleasuring someone versus pleasuring yourself. Giving versus receiving. It takes the ability to receive to exchange love. But, when it comes to two people engaging in a relationship, at least from my opinion, it takes both. Giving without the intent to receive. Although, of course, you want to receive. Of course, it takes talent. It takes, intent to receive. A lot of people are not very good at receiving compliments, receiving gifts, pride. I don't need anything. I don't need anyone. All right, see how long that lasts. Love only exists in a world where pain is possible. One of the greatest questions I hear asked, especially in the atheism, debates, is there a God? One of the most common questions that comes up is, why is there all this suffering in the world? Why is all this pain? And I always speak to, how pain is a notification. It's a moment where you need to ask a question. Is something out of order? Is something broken? If your check engine light comes on, obviously it's not representing the physical pain, but it's a notification that's telling you something is out of order, something's wrong. If you get a headache, something's wrong, address it. You get stomach pain, something's out of order. You break your leg, you're gonna fix something. It's gonna let you know, bruh, listen, there's an extremity that's out of place. Something is not working properly. That's the role of pain in our lives. It's pointing to the origin. I was not designed this way. Put me back in the original way I was designed. Order, a place of order. I would argue that we were born in a place of love, but we live in this world of pain. We come from a place of mind that is in a place of love, and it's trying to show us, yes, we live in this world of pain, but there's an alternative. I'm not preaching to you. Just questions, really. Just questions. Why is there pain? Why do we complain about, the injustices? Why do we complain about hunger and thirst? Is there alternative? If you felt thirsty, but there was no such thing as water, what are you complaining about? There's no alternative. When someone dies, why is that wrong? Is life valuable? I'm gonna avoid that tangent. Some of the barriers to love, at least in my opinion, is something I'm struggling with currently. That's why I'm single. Fear. I was speaking to a psychology, what's her name? She's equivalent to a counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, the variations thereof based on what they are able to do and limited by. Fear. If I were to dive into my own psychology and go back and think and research my own history, my own self, my own life, my experiences, the pains I've gone through, I can see why my current position is the way it is. One of the greatest, especially in day-to-day life, I can immediately pick up on, someone leaving a conversation or ignoring me or, it's humanity. It's our humanity. You know what it feels like to be ignored. You know what it feels like to be left, to be betrayed, to be rejected. It's probably one of the biggest things going on in today's society as far as why we have so much mental health issues. So we're all in search of that place of peace, that place of acceptance. Loss. Why is loss a thing? Do you deserve to have something? No matter how old we get, independent we get, successful we get, how many achievements that we attain, we will always value people over things, whether or not you want to admit it. We will always value having someone love us, want us. It's amazing. It's amazing. It speaks to our origin, our purpose, why we were designed this way. We're different. We're different. Unique, if you will. Betrayal. Spoke on this earlier. Someone's words and actions not matching, or your own. We're not victims here. We're humans that have the ability to choose. We make decisions. You didn't fall into cheating. You chose to. You chose to. Unless, decisions can create pain or love. People that don't believe in free will, that's cool. But do you look both ways before you cross the street? Was that car always there? Was that car always meant to hit you? Was that bus that's coming by, you know, did you look at it before you cross the street? You're choosing to avoid danger. That's wisdom. Compromise. One of my favorite concepts. It's something I study from a distance because, and it's something Dr. Mike Murdock said this morning. It was so simple, but yet profound, at least to me. He was like, there's no amount of faith that can allow you to control someone else's actions. You can believe all you want. You can trust someone all you want. You can love them and give and sacrifice. But there's no amount of that based on your own actions, your own free will, your own thought process, your own ambition that can control another person's actions. And they still retain their free will. It's something that, you know, I'm intrigued by when it comes to marriage. I don't know anyone, including myself, I don't know anyone who is, you know, outside of the things that require us to stay alive, like food, water, air, clothing, you know, shelter, you know, for the most part. I've never done anything the same way for 27 years in terms of activities, hobbies, things I value, places I value, people I value, outside of maybe my mother, my father, siblings. You know, it's something I take issue with, you know, the vows that we say during marriage. You're going to do these same actions that are not easy for the rest of your life till you die. It's interesting. It's interesting. I know zero people that are successful with this. That is marriage. There's something fundamentally wrong. I'm not saying marriage itself is the issue. Could be. It's a government contract. It's up for debate. Don't ask me. I'm intrigued. 50% of marriages are failing. And if you get married again, they go up to like 70 or 80% failure. Apply that to parachutes. If 10 people are jumping out of a plane, have them open up and you're next. You gonna jump? I don't know. But people get married in the name of love. There's something powerful about, you know, the concept or the reality of love. People are choosing each other, and yet, you know, down the line when things get tough, it falls apart. What changed? Why do people cheat? First of all, is cheating wrong? Based on what? What rule book are you applying cheating to? I'm not saying cheating is right. I'm asking you what moral law are you applying to cheating? This world is ran by laws. You know you're speeding based on the law. You know murder is wrong when you get arrested because there's a law in place that says don't do that. So when you cheat on someone and it's wrong, but you don't go to prison. Unless you're in the military, because it is illegal under the UCMJ, so be mindful of that. Adultery is in the UCMJ, which is interesting. But, you know, in the secular world, in the civilian world, you know, if you cheat, you don't go to prison, but you hurt someone. Why are they hurt? Because you chose someone else? Just questions. Everyone has a price for compromise. Everyone has a price for compromise. The price is set. You may or may not be aware of it. But when you get offered it, obviously it's up to you to choose it, you know, to accept that price. I'm not saying everybody takes the price. I'm not saying everybody cashes in. I'm not saying everybody betrays or compromises or changes from what they think they value, what they have set, you know, in their minds to value. But everybody has a price. What's your price? What's your price for compromise? Who would you endorse? What job would you take? You know, if the price was right. What crimes would you commit if the price was right? What actions would you engage in if the price was right? Scary questions. Very scary questions. But yet it's still reality. And yet a lot of people don't want to address them. A lot of people don't want to even look in that direction. There might be a reason why I would go against what I said I would not do. I know I told you I loved you. I know I told you I cared and I did these things for you. And of course, I gave you the whole, all of it. A whole nice little poem and haiku, and it was beautiful. But then my actions said differently. That's why I define manipulation would be, to have actions that don't match your words. That's one of the first signs that you're being manipulated. It's just questions, though. Compromise. Be aware of that. So all this is why I'm still single. All of this. My head keeps spinning, and obviously at some point I have to move with my heart, but I can't ignore my thoughts. I can't ignore my research, my observations. I use all of them to bring into my decision making. Sometimes. Sometimes. My feelings, logistics, my wants, needs, insecurities, stats, they all play a major part. And so I try to consciously keep all these things in their proper place and weigh them evenly. But I'm human just like everybody else. I'm emotionally attached to pizza, puppies, sunrises, sunsets, water, large bodies of water. The beautiful woman that is so intelligently created and sculpted. It's amazing. It's amazing. Ask yourself why you're attached to. That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole other thing. You get the point. Free will and love is interesting. It's interesting. Just want to bring a little light to it. Just ask a couple questions, but these are questions that we need to address ongoing. You say you love someone, what does that mean? Does love have expectations? I would argue they do. Does unconditional love exist? Where there is no reason why I would... Does unconditional love exist? Or does our love have expectations? There's actions that I expect because you say you love me. It's a good question. It's a good question. Every time you say the word love, think about what that truly means. When I say I love my mother, that means I would sacrifice, I would give my life in place of yours. How many people in your life could you say you would do that for? I'm not saying you should define love the same way I do. I'm saying there are very few people in my life that I say I love you to. That word carries great gravity to me. When someone tells me they love me, I'm looking for actions to follow. Are you willing to correct me? That's a proof of love. That's evidence of love to me. If you say you love me, will you tell me the bridge is out, even though I have a brand new car and I want to go explore? I'm trying to live a little bit, but you don't want to hurt my feelings. You don't want to, stop my fun. Are you willing to tell me the bridge is out and stop the party? Do you care about my future? Do you care about my friendship more than my potential? My longevity, my success? Do you care more about my comfort than my discipline? If I'm doing something wrong, do you tell me I'm wrong? Will you correct me? It's interesting. Just a quick video. So yeah, free will is interesting. Free will is definitely a thing. The fact you chose to watch this video, this video was not automatically interjected into your life. You weren't, you're not in handcuffs right now watching this video. You chose to watch it. A lot of decisions we make, we're choosing them. And if we didn't, someone else chose, to come across our path. Pain and tragedy plan themselves, but most likely it's due to. That's all. I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, have a good day. It's Friday morning. Headed to work. It's been a good week. I like this video. I hated yesterday's video for some reason. I was off, but yeah, keep going. I haven't given up hope on love. I have not given up hope on, finding a person I love. There's 7 billion people in the world. I don't quit after the first person, but I still got to research. I still got to find out, what did I do wrong? In every failed relationship, there's a common denominator. You were there, bro. You did something. You may not be at fault, but you were participating. What happened? Take the time to actually dive into that. Talk to someone. Sometimes for me, therapy is just talking to the camera, get my thoughts out. Not venting, but asking questions. So I can at least, reiterate to myself, all right, these are thoughts that you need to really, dive into. Not giving up on the whole process, not trying to, I'm done dating, I'm done relationships, I'm done. No, because we need people. Quickest way to go insane is to try to do everything by yourself, to close everybody out. The greatest relationships in my life are people that are willing to engage me in thinking and talking and getting stuff off my chest. People that are willing to tell me that doesn't make sense. You're trying to express sacrifice in mathematics. It's not possible. You're going about this the wrong way. You're trying too hard. You're not trying hard enough. People in your life, you need them, but you need to choose them carefully based on their actions, not the words. Love comes in many different forms. It's not always, kissing and cuddling and beautiful, romantic and strings and R&B and chocolate. Most of y'all ain't getting none on Valentine's Day, including myself. It's cool. It's life. Candy doesn't cost that much. Anyway, I gotta go. Say what's good to your boy. Have a good weekend. We out.